right, we're live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Windsor Re-Up. This is episode number 21, Jeremy. What do you think about that?
21. That's amazing. It's almost it's almost been like two full years combined into months for this project now. And I know we've been doing it for longer than that, but consistently we've been doing this for quite a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see for another 21 at least.
Yeah, here's to more of them. So I hope you guys are buckled in and ready to go because we definitely are excited about talking about the Windsor updates here and just general
Mhm.
news and things that we're seeing in the market. But first, I want to say, what's the news from your end, Jeremy? What's going on in your life? What's keeping you busy? Any new projects on the go or finishing up projects? Let people know what's going on, man, because it's been already a month before they got an update and people are dying to know.
Honestly, it's been a great month so far. May was really good as well. Um, which is which is good to hear. So
Hmm.
this year's been for I've talked to a lot of realtors about that. This year has been interesting to say the least. It's been slower compared to
Yeah.
last year. Obviously things like the tariffs have put us into a position where some investors or even home buyers are waiting to see, like everyone's in a wait to see mode. And
Yeah.
then there's a Toronto condominium market where we have like almost, I think, 89 months of inventory. So there's a
Holy
lot
crap.
of factors, a lot of variables
That's a new stat.
that are
Wow.
holding us back from taking off. To kind of give you an idea today, what is the stats? Just hypothetically speaking,
Hmm.
I'm gonna bring these notes up right now. Today we had 87 new listings to 21 sales and six price decreases,
Just
one
today alone in
price
Essex County.
increase. Yeah. It's really good to see. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, when I went down to get my teeth cleaned today at the dentist
Nice pearly
and
whites. Okay.
I was waiting to for my turn. So I was checking out the listings. This was around noon. We had 50 listings to seven sales. So it's
Wow.
great to see that the sales have climbed drastically. To give you an idea, for the last 3 days, we have 438 new listings to 99 sales. So about 4 to 1 list a sale. That's not bad. Um,
What would you kind of want to
we've
see? Would you want to see like
well,
four to two, four to
at
three?
the when we were at the peak, we were like almost 2 to 1 to 3 to 1.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we're not far off. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not that bad. We'll see how the numbers are because I haven't really taken a look at that. Because we finally got the
Market
May
updates.
statistics
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. And I
We'll
know
we'll get
because
to that.
we did the April one a little bit later because we were busy with work. But
Hmm.
how have you been?
No, things have been good, man. Things have been good. What's been going on in my life? I guess did I tell you last time we refinanced our duplex in Cleveland? We finished that up. So that was a nice win. But here in Windsor itself, we made our first sale of flooring, and this is a little cool segue. We can drop the line in
Oh,
here. So, um, if you guys don't know, Jeremy and I, and we've basically been connected with a wholesaler up in Toronto, and the Toronto region, and what we're able to sell and bring to our viewers and also other investors, or even if you're a homeowner themselves and you just got a project on the go, we have vinyl flooring for you in all different colors and also different thicknesses. And it's actually good quality toucan flooring. It's the stuff that I've used personally in my own flip. And I know, Jeremy, you're maybe considering using this here because
yeah,
the
I got a big
price is,
project
yeah,
coming up on Drulard.
oh, is that
And when
your
we
Droular duplex? Which one is that?
triplex,
Triplex, sorry,
don't
triplex.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mind to
triplex there.
diminish it.
3 units, one commercial, two residential, and a vacant piece of land, potential development play there. But yeah, well, we
Sweet.
looked at the flooring because I
Hmm.
was asking and I wanted to know more. I want to learn as much as I can about something that if we're going to offer it. I believe Rona sells it for like 450 a square foot. We got some really good
Correct.
deals on it. Um, but I think Tom, like, what are you seeing with the flooring right now?
Yeah, yeah. So on average, I'll just give an example. So for 6 millimeter flooring thickness, That's pretty
Hmm.
middle of the road. It's not too thin where it's going to be warpy, but it's still thick enough that it'll be robust enough into like a rental unit. And in
Yeah.
that stuff, we can get actually for $2.10 a square foot.
Wow.
So almost half of what the big box stores sell. Mind you, there is a small shipping fee, but if you buy anything essentially over about 500 square feet, you're going to be saving money. So by using our plug, you can get a cheap price, and then we also, I want to be honest, we do get a small kickback for buying that to you guys. But honestly, I think it's a really good deal, and hopefully we can give it to other people, and I'll use it again in one of mine, and so will you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm excited because they have some nice colors. We do have samples, so if anyone wants to see them,
we do.
we have a bunch of different options too. Because I have the commercial unit and they have some commercial like magnetic flooring.
Hmm.
Never seen it before. It looks pretty interesting. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the
Let's take a
link
look.
here. I might have to bring
Oh,
it
there's
up.
the stats.
I might have to bring it up on the separate. I should have had it ready. I don't have
No,
it.
no worries.
What
So,
for the group here?
go.
I'm just trying to pull up the actual website, but I don't have it on hand. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to drop a link in the comments for you guys to check it out on your own, and then next time I'll show some pictures because unfortunately I don't have that on hand.
No worries. So we have flooring. So if anyone needs flooring, let us know.
Hmm.
I think we start at like 4 millimeter, 5 millimeter, six
Yeah,
millimeter, and going up to
4.2, and we
seven.
go in increments. Yep.
Yeah. And then we have the ultra wide, the wide planks, commercial flooring, glue down. Supposedly we're working on some tile. We're working on some other things as
Hmm.
well.
A little bit of trim
Trying to be a
potentially. Yep.
yeah, it's pretty good there. So, yeah, we're happy to discuss that.
Hmm.
Talking about flips and renovations, I just listed my flip
Oh,
uh
there you go.
yesterday.
Right on.
Yes.
Right
So I
on.
don't know if you want to bring this up, Tom.
Sure. Yeah. Give me the
We
address,
are
or give me what you want
sure.
to bring up
Yeah,
the
it's
listing.
a 3629 Queen Street.
29
So this
Queen
is in the
Street.
west end of Windsor, Sandwich Town. But in a great location because we're more by Prince Road, so it's in a quiet area,
Mm-hmm.
like walking distance to Tim Hortons, a short
Oh, look at
drive
that guy.
down to McDonald's and the and Brews and Q's there, and in between like kind of sort of in between the university and also in between like LaSalle. It's a great
Mm-hmm.
location, but take a look at this.
Wow. Look at that.
Um,
First of all, I really like the exterior, the colors. Kind of like the black looks
Thank you.
clean, and then with the kind of the red tones.
Yeah, we try to do some modern takes there. Obviously, it's tough. It was with the weather changing so much. It was tough to kind of get the grass in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you see the front porch was done. We put all new, mostly new windows in there. But if we can go to maybe the living room, because that's a cool feature
Oh, this
there.
this first
We
one
had a
here.
really
Whoops.
old style. It looked like your typical Walkerville home that was just beat up because once again, it's a Walkerville, sorry, not Walkerville, it's a West End property.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tenanted property for the most part, and it was beat up. And we were able to kind of keep a clean, modern take of an old style home.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
used white oak style
I
vinyl,
do like the
luxury vinyl
flooring choice. I
flooring.
do, because that's not like the old, kind of like the gray that's kind of on this way out.
Yeah, no, this is to give you an idea
It's more
here.
warm feel too.
I was using I was using Sherwin-Williams agreeable gray for most of my projects.
Mm-hmm.
However, and I still use them for most of my rentals. However, this right here, this is Benjamin Moore Chantilly lace. Obviously, I'm not paying for Benjamin Moore at this property, but that's a great thing about going to any company, even like Rona or Home Depot,
Mm-hmm.
is they can color match
Whatever you get.
high end paint colors. Yeah. So for example, Benjamin Moore Chantilly lace, one of the best. Actually
That's
the wall behind me here is Benjamin Moore, but this is actual Benjamin Moore. This is
yeah.
my condo.
That's a nice tone.
But Lewis, once again, I think this is Valspar paint, if I'm not mistaken. Looks stunning. So
Mm-hmm.
this is listed
Mm-hmm.
at 3399. Hoping to get multiple offers because I mean, just take a look at this property. I don't like to
Oh
humble
yeah.
brag here, but
It. I
this was a labor of love for us.
I saw. I remember walking it with you when it was basically nearing the start of the project, and
Yeah.
you were kind of doing a walk around, showing me what needed to be done, and we were going to walking the exterior first and the inside. We shot a couple of videos.
We
I,
did.
yeah, this definitely looks night and day difference. To,
Accent walls.
there
This
you
is the
go.
thing here is most people in the West with this type of product would have went just your typical builder grade flooring, builder grade kitchen, which don't get me wrong, build it's a white shaker cabinets, but
Oh,
it's
blue
timeless
bathroom.
if you do it right. Quartz countertops, the bathroom,
You got a
we
lot of
went a
space, actually.
little bit
Countertops on
different.
both sides, like a coffee bar.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't
It's
mean to
just
cut
it
you
was
off, but
too weird to do kind of an island because it's the way it was set up
a
there.
little
But we
narrow.
do
Yeah.
have that sunroom that is heated, and we do have a good sized dining room, as you can tell, in the next picture there.
Is it?
But
Oh,
take a
sorry.
look at
This
that
is the
bathroom,
sunroom.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at that color. It's like a teal, and then we have a
Ti-
feature accent wall
tile on
that's
the
real
wall.
tile.
Wow.
Yeah, got the Calcutta style tile there.
That's some bold choices.
Re
I just really quickly. I don't think some flippers would do that. They want
no,
to play it safe,
no.
and they do pure, almost like primed white, kind of just like very sterile, kind of looking walls. This is
We didn't
definitely
even go
has
with your
some
basic like
character.
because I see always a zigzag accent walls in the dining room, living rooms. We went and actually did like the nice luxury style wainscoting. Yeah, but everything like even that bathroom there, that's probably one of my favorite bathrooms. And
Wow.
this is a home you would see in the West End of Windsor, Sandwich Town area. Like obviously we still, if you look at the vanities there, we didn't go high end on everything, but we just wanted to be able to offer an affordable product. Once
Hmm.
again, let's list it at 339.9. At but offer a quality, like an actual quality design.
Hmm.
So redid the deck back there, huge backyard, parking for three, I think about three cars, and you still have a backyard, which is
Wow.
nice.
Yeah, that's a plenty good space in the backyard. I guess
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
viewers who might be wanting to get into flips or just are learning or even seasoned real estate investors, do you have any tips or lessons learned from this project that you or things you brought from previous projects that you
Oh, this
implemented
this
on
one
this
right
one?
here was a this was a pretty slam dunk property. I mean, even the guy that we bought it off, so we bought it off privately, off a wholesaler,
Okay.
and he was based out of Leamington, great guy. Um, however, the project wasn't for him because he is based out of Leamington. He didn't want to drive down every day to
Yes,
Windsor.
that's
So
far, like
pretty
50
much
minutes.
what he was I had him doing some projects for me. He was also doing some construction. So we basically traded some jobs for this property. I
Okay.
also I also paid him cash as well. So he did
Nice.
get a wholesale fee on top of that. But we got it for an affordable price point that made sense. Everyone won. Um, Project did take longer, and that's what happens sometimes when you get someone that kind of does a family and friends discount, but at like the quality is stunning. I mean, if I would have had the same quality of work by someone who would have done it like a properly priced me out,
Hmm.
this would have been probably close to about $100,000 of renovations.
It looks
We
about
didn't spend
right because
anywhere
I
near
was adding
that.
up in my
Yeah.
head. I was thinking, okay, kitchen, bathrooms, and I'm looking at the tile,
The
you
guys
know, and the
who did the
flooring
work on
quality.
this
Hmm.
are doing high-end homes and high-end condos in Windsor.
Okay,
So,
so you got the nice
we
touch.
didn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you say
So,
it's definitely worth it to hire people or even take the time if even there is slight, I want to say delays, but a
I mean,
slightly
if you can
longer
get a
duration
friend
if you can
that
get
can
the
work for
quality.
you on the weekends and kind of get it done, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to price everything in. Like, how much is your cost? Like, for you holding
Your
it
carrying
for
costs.
a lot longer. I mean, the guy went away for a month, obviously hurt me. I got to pay, two or $3,000 out of pocket for that month. However, I mean, when a product shows like this, um, yeah, you're paying for it one way or another, right? So,
Hmm.
um, that's the thing. Obviously, we went over and above for what the location, um,
Yeah, in the West End. Yeah.
yeah, for the location, right? However, we didn't overprice ourselves. We know our numbers, our prices, we're gonna make money regardless of what we do here.
Yes.
So that's one thing I've learned from my Lowe's on product because I think we talked about what happened in my pros and cons of when I did my Lowe's on, which was
Do
what
something
I
quick,
thought
like
was a
high
seven
level. What
hundred
happened
thousand.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, so a B, I would say a B or a high B, low A quality neighborhood. It was about 2,000 plus square foot over above grade, two floors. So you had the main floor, like a giant living room with a fireplace, dining room, beautiful kitchen. All it was all custom cabinets, of course, countertops. We had an family room with a fireplace. The basement had a family room with a fireplace, a second kitchen, great
Hmm.
entrance, 100 by 200-foot lot, four bedrooms upstairs with a full bathroom. I think a double sink there as
You're saying
well.
a lot of amazing
Um,
things, but what was the catch?
so I bought it for a great price point, which kept me in the plus category. I didn't lose money,
Hmm.
thankfully. But I probably would have if I would have just sold it right off the bat instead of flipping it, I probably would have made more money
Gotcha.
because what happened was the market started to shift late last year. And I thought I was going to get 750. I sold for 650, so I lost pretty much $100,000 of what I thought I was going to make.
Ouch. Yeah.
I still made some money, but not enough to make it worthwhile of having that type of project.
Hmm.
6 months hold, and it was still a $600,000 house. I had to keep a mortgage on that, right? So I sold it for
Right.
650. Um, but here's the thing I learned: I didn't do accent walls. I didn't do little features. So what we kind of messed up on, I learned, and we were able to kind of do it at a scale at this property.
How do you walk that fine line with between not doing enough or putting too much like accent or too much character or uniqueness in? Did you do any
Great question.
not necessarily market studies, but did you do any like look around the neighborhood and other listings what they were doing
No,
to try to fit
not at
in
all.
or
No,
try to do
I
something
just
that
once
stands
again, when
out?
you're doing these 3 or 4 times a year minimum, you learn what kind of people like, right? So Lowe's on, I didn't buy appliances because I was trying to cheap out. Because the appliances, once again, you're talking a $700,000 house at the time.
Hmm.
Um, do people want me to spend way more money and get higher end appliances? Do I need a gas stove? I don't know, right? So I kind of try to skirt that topic, and people brought it up. Multiple people said, "Hey, why don't you have appliances?" And then at
Oh,
that point, I
okay.
was just like, you know what? At the right price point, maybe I'll buy it for you. So I
Right,
didn't have to
right.
do that. I ended up getting an offer I was happy with.
Okay.
But this project here, stainless steel appliances, make sure we have them in installed. So that's anyone that walks through the property, it's turnkey. As you can see with the furnishing,
Yeah, less hassle that
this
way,
is a
basically.
yeah. Also we knew our budget, right? For example, was I looking for this house? No, but the price was attractive and made sense. And for what we spent on it, there was no way we could lose money. So sure, we might have spent maybe a few $1,000s more doing accents, but it was well worth that. And sometimes in this market too, when you're flipping a house, um, houses are taking a lot longer to sell. As I mentioned, in Toronto, there's like 89 months of condos on the market right now. So you have to stand out. You have to do something to really make your listing pop.
Hmm.
So what we did is we went out, sure, we might have went a little bit above and beyond. However, it didn't cost us that much more
Right.
money.
It was calculated,
If
basically.
it's
Yeah.
going to cost you 10, 20 grand, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Hmm.
So it was well and within our budget. And sometimes, like even staging, you should do it. Always stage. I stage all my properties
I agree
because
with that
staging usually
too.
adds about $6,000 to $10,000.
6 to 10, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because I think of it this way too with staging. It helps the end buyer almost envision what it could be. Because sometimes they see a
Yeah.
blank space or blank canvas and they're like, I don't know. But
The
it definitely helps
most
them feel
important
more
things
homey.
are bedrooms because people can't imagine um
Like a queen bed in there kind of
but
thing.
yeah,
Or if,
100%.
oh, this is too small kind
Will
of
their
thing.
end tables fit? So just make it look good. That's the biggest thing I can tell with flipping right now. People are just, and here's the thing too. I represent a lot of flippers,
Yeah.
and especially when new people are getting into the market, they watch a TV show and they're like, "Oh, we'll just go in the MLS and buy anything." It's like that. That's just because it's listed for sale and it's in terrible condition doesn't mean it's a good deal.
Yep.
People need to realize that. Don't just buy a property. I've seen too many people. I've actually I just lost a recent property because someone bought a property in Walkerville. I actually put an offer in that was like $60,000 less,
Hmm.
and I thought we were to get it, and then we lost it. I never heard back, and then sure enough, I met the person that bought it. He paid 60 grand more than I did,
Oh,
and dropped like I think well over 6 figures into the project, and it still needed more work done. It still needed this. It
oh
still
no.
needed that,
Uh,
and to sell it now,
he's
he
gonna
can't
have
get the
to,
dollar.
yeah, he's gonna have to hold
He's
on to
losing
it.
money.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. Well, who knows when the market's we've been pretty stagnant for the last almost year and a half now. It
Hmm.
is it's slow. And you don't want to sit on an empty product, especially with, this property here it's been vacant for, quite a few months now. And other people's projects too. If it's costing you $3,000-4,000 a month, you just kind of want to get rid of it, right?
Absolutely. And I think in this market too, I'll add, because it is more of a buyer's market, you want to make yours stand out because the buyers themselves are very picky and they know they can shop around and they know that they can
Oh, 100%.
offer below asking in some cases. So what
I
you're
just
saying
went
really
through a
resonates with
property
me.
today and I took one of my clients through. And you could just tell that they just did a quick renovation. And I'm sitting there and the agent asked me, "Hey, what's your thoughts on it?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna tell them, hey,
Yeah, this is kind of trash.
all I have to my client has to come in and rip everything out because it's a shoddy for them to rent it out. They're not gonna get a good quality tenant because the
He's a true
paint's on the
landlord special.
floor and it doesn't look good. So
Yeah.
sometimes not doing a renovation is almost better than actually doing the renovation because you're
Yeah.
going to spend money and it's going to look if you're a contractor or yourself, like if you're doing the work, it may be a little bit like it might add some more value, but if you're paying someone to do a quick work, um, it might not add
Yeah.
value.
Hmm.
Because I walk through, I'm like, this looks like meh.
Yeah.
And
That
then my client's got to redo it all.
that leads me to a second question. I know what my opinion is on this, but again, for other viewers who might be thinking of doing more projects like this, what are the top things that add value, in your opinion, for flips?
Kitchens and bathrooms, the most important things you
There you
can
go.
add value.
You heard
So
it
I mean
there,
that
there,
kitchen,
folks.
who do we use for that kitchen? I think it's like Glacier Bay. Nothing special. And to be honest with you, the kitchen I did at Lozon was custom and looked the exact same. You probably couldn't even tell the difference between unless you opened up the the,
Same
the
same cabinets,
interior.
and then you'd see the
Yeah.
real wood maybe from that versus your MDF and things like that.
And the price difference was a noticeable price difference
Wow.
too.
Yeah.
So about and you could probably do a nice kitchen to give you an idea.
Yeah. What
You
price on
that
average?
10-15 grand, not including appliances, right?
Yeah.
Usually you're spending between $6,000 to $8,000 in appliances, and then countertops could be a few $100 if you go linoleum based,
But you
and
probably want to go
maybe
quartz. You went quartz in this one, or
2,000. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing crazy.
Sometimes you
It's
can
not
even
that
get
expensive.
offcuts
It's
if you want to
small.
be
Once
cheaper,
again,
right? You can say, hey, what do you
yeah, I
got?
mean,
And then if you got a little coffee table or island, then there you go, cheap, couple $100.
the one I have here, I have an 8 foot condo. I sort of an 8 foot island in my condo, with waterfalls on each side. I went stupid.
It
thirteen
looks good.
thousand dollars for quartz countertops.
Yeah.
But on my flips, I'm doing them for 2,000. So it's like you don't need to go crazy. Like I wouldn't have done a waterfall. Maybe I would have if I had more room, but I would have done maybe one sided, make it a little bit nicer.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have went with as crazy of a theme. It
Yeah.
was my
You're
personal
just giving an
property, right?
example. Yeah.
You just go cheap, kind of like once again, you gotta walk a fine line on price point. And this is what you don't want to spend the money, but you want to have first of all, you want quality
Hmm.
and you want to have the latest designs. Like once again, gray vinyl flooring is out. Don't use it. Your property's gonna look dated.
Any other
Um,
like no goes that you can think of? Like
yeah,
absolutely.
like the gray vinyl flooring with white shaker cabinets in the kitchen. It's like it looks almost too builder grade. You kind of want to
Looks like a
almost
rental.
mix it up a
Yeah.
bit. Like the shaker cabinets can look really bad or really good depending on your flooring, your wall colors, and your countertops.
Mm.
So, but here's the thing. Go to that bathroom again.
Sure.
The main one upstairs. It's going to be the ones that's tile everywhere. This property, once again, we kind of did something different, unique, a little bit crazy, a little bit of our outside our comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
This tile
hoping it
right
pays
there.
off, but it wasn't like we spent a ton of money to have it redone. Like that was the thing for us. It was like it looks cool, it's different, it's a talking point.
Yeah. It's definitely
So,
a statement. Yeah. That tile's
so yeah,
interesting
I
too
mean,
because
it's a house that like I would want to live in if I was a first time home buyer. It's a good.
yeah,
Once again, it's a
absolutely.
3 bed, 3 bath, so it's actually 2.5 baths. So you have a main floor half bath, upstairs you got a full 4 piece bath, and the basement has a
Oh,
3 piece
that's another
bath.
thing for adding value. Were you able to add one of those bathrooms or half
No,
baths? They were
no,
already
they're all
there.
there,
Okay.
all there.
because I was going to say that's another way to increase value or things to put money into is if you can create another bedroom without like reducing like too much living space, or you can add another like half bath. Money,
Yes and
huge.
no.
Yeah.
3 bedrooms. I always say 3 bedrooms is the go-to.
Hmm.
There's some like, for example, I've had clients ask me, for example, on a good neighborhood, they had the 2 stories that had 4 bedrooms upstairs. You can combine two of them and create that ensuite with the walk-in closet, and you drop down to 3 bedrooms of four. That's fine.
Hmm.
I thought about doing that with Lozon too. The going is about 3 bedrooms. You want to have at least three. Once again, if it's a ranch house, that could be perfect for someone that's downsizing or a starter home. Then you can kind of have two, but there's no like I can't have a 2 story house with 2 beds. It just doesn't make sense. It's a
Mm.
2 story. You mostly have a family at that point, so you want to have that third bedroom. Not saying you can't have a bedroom or two in the basement. Those are always pluses. This type of house right here, there was no room to have, unfortunately, a bedroom. So it's just an open square footage. But um, if the kids kind of don't need a play area in the basement, they have that sunroom so that you could potentially, if you have an older child or
Just
maybe
stick something
like
in there.
somebody else, they can have the whole basement to themselves.
Mm. Right on. No, I appreciate you
So
explaining that.
yeah,
That's
absolutely. I'm
yeah,
excited. If anyone wants to see his house, reach out to me. We
absolutely.
can work
Reach
out a
out
deal
to
out.
Jeremy for any of your realtor needs. He's the investor
Absolutely.
focused realtor here in Essex, Windsor, Essex County, and definitely can't say enough good things because I know you've helped me out a couple of times even with flips, or you know how you were saying you've mentioned to some people like this
Live
isn't
and
good
learn.
or this isn't good. You definitely guided me a little bit there too, like, oh, be
Well,
careful of this or like stay away from that. So
once
it's
again,
appreciated.
I think you bought an A+ neighborhood at 1.2, and it doesn't mean it's going to be
Yeah,
a
it was
sellable
tough.
house.
It was tough. Kind of similar
You
to your
really
Lozon
have.
one.
Yeah, it really at the end of the day, and that's the thing is like you really have to when it comes to flipping, especially right now, it's this is not 2021, 2022. Like we're not a
Can't just print money randomly.
yeah, it's not like houses are going to go
Yeah.
up in value. So you really want to be able to kind of sometimes it's almost better to wait. And because I don't get me wrong, I mean, me and you, we're so involved in real estate that we get itchy. Like I'm just sitting here now.
I know,
I'm
like,
like that
what's next?
project's
What's
done.
next? We're like,
I'm bored because obviously
yeah.
Drillard hasn't closed yet, which is we had a title issue, power
Mm,
sale deal. So um
dang.
dealing with that. And then now I have to wait another month, legitimately. Like I think we closed July 2nd.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here. I can't even order supplies because I don't want to like it's a month away still.
Right. You'll just be holding on to this material just randomly somewhere, taking a
And we were,
spin.
sp- and I was gonna go see a property I thought was gonna be off market. Turns out it was on market today. I'm excited. Me and you are gonna go take a look at
Yeah,
a
we
potential
definitely will.
project that we can team up on. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. We'll see
Hmm.
if it's good. Maybe talk about it
If not that
on
one,
our next
there's
episode.
always some other ones too. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that one. I think that's a good one to even do like a live in the Wealth Genius inner circle about. It's like, hey
Sure.
guys, check this out. But we'll definitely
Absolutely.
talk about it here on the next one's re-up. We'll give you an update on all that we've accomplished on the next month, and that keeps us accountable
So
too to actually progress. But do you
I
want
think we had a good talking, good a little intro there. Obviously, we discussed our day to day.
to? Hmm.
I think what we'll do is this maybe this one or two articles and then head over to the statistics. What do we
Sure.
have?
Yeah. Do you want to? Here, I'll share my screen again. Do you want to talk about the realtor one here, or do you want to skip that one?
Sure, let's just discuss that one. So what is
All
this
right.
bill 7? Windsor Realtors praise Ontario bill as critical step to speed up new homes. I don't know. I'll take a
Oh,
look.
I wasn't
What
sure
is
if you
this article
ChatGPT this
about?
one. Yeah.
Yes, what is this about? So, what is Bill 17? Think of Bill 17 as a big update to Ontario's building and development rules.
Hmm.
The goal, it's to make it faster and easier to build homes, transit projects, and other infrastructure across the province, including here in Windsor, Essex. The government wants to solve the housing crisis by speeding up how homes and buildings get approved and built.
Mm.
So, why should we care as an investor? If you're buying, selling, flipping, or building real estate, especially as a newer investor, this bill can speed up the time it takes to get permits, which is huge. It
Yeah.
takes way too long to get permits right now.
Too much red tape right
Reduce
now.
the upfront costs developers usually face, and make Ontario, which includes Windsor Essex County, more attractive for building new homes, which is good because
Nice.
right now you keep talking about the states where we want people to invest in Canada,
I want
especially
people in Canada
Windsor.
and our backyard. I really
Yeah.
do. I love Windsor. Come on. I only do the States just because it's been tough to find stuff here in Windsor, but definitely on the lookout.
So this could also affect how much control cities like Windsor have over how and what gets built, which can be both good and bad depending on your strategy.
Mm,
So key points, and we're using kind of plain language here. Faster approvals for building projects. The province is taking more control away from local municipalities like Windsor, Kingsville, Leamington, Amherstburg. This means less red tape, more consistency across the whole province, especially helpful if you're a developer or builder. Newer
mm,
materials and building techniques will be approved faster, so innovation won't get stuck in paperwork.
right.
Um,
I
Number two, so basically to kind of go over that, if I'm not mistaken, when I was reading this a few months ago, I think they have like a bunch of different types, like pro types of
Yes,
homes,
cookie cutter almost like
and
these are pre-approved and already designed. Just like
you
plop it
build
down.
this and you're thumbs up,
Yeah,
right?
kind of like the
So they're
wartime house
trying to
that they
get
did
away
back in the day.
from, yeah, they're trying to get away from the city saying, oh, I don't know if it's going to work here. It's like you build this on any property, you're good to go.
Hmm.
So they're trying to avoid going to the land tribunals, which can get costly for both the city, the province, and developers. I know a developer right now that's spending, 6 figures plus for
Wow,
a
just for studies
maybe,
and stuff.
for a maybe.
See, that's really risky. He must have some good
Yeah, 100,
confidence.
six figures plus. So number two, cheaper to build in some cases. Developers don't have to pay big fees called development charges up front anymore. They can pay when the building is done. That's interesting.
Say it one more time. The developer themselves.
Developers don't have to pay big fees called development charges up front anymore. They
Oh
can pay when the
wow,
building is done.
interesting.
That's
So once they
interesting.
once they actually get the mortgage in place and get
Yeah.
the money back from the bank and recoup the cost, and they can kind of disperse those.
No interest will be charged on those delayed payments, which is rare and saves money.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Because you're
Okay.
probably capitalizing those payments at the end if you're the builder, and then do like a balloon payment at the end, and that's extra
And
interest
then
on top
this,
of
once
hundreds of thousands
again,
of
this
dollars.
is like deep research done through ChatGPT. So we're still learning all this kind of stuff
Good
here,
old
but
ChatGPT.
long-term care homes like retirement facilities won't have to pay those fees at all, encouraging more of them to be built. We have a boomer, quite a few of them now, and obviously,
Hmm.
there's I personally haven't seen too many new retirement homes or
They're not a
old age
lot.
facilities be built. Yeah,
I've heard sad things on not thankfully not any of
and they're
my family,
pricey.
but people are just waiting to get in, and there's not a lot of room, and the
I
ones
can
that
tell you
do
with my
open
grandma,
are not
she
great.
and bless her soul, there she we had a tough time getting her a property for a
There
bit,
you go. Yeah,
and we kind of just had to put her in the first place that came up because she needed some
she needs the
assistance,
extra
right?
care. Yeah.
Yeah. So and because I mean she was pretty much 100 years old.
Oh wow.
So it's
That's
it's it's hard when that person had, she was blind and there's a lot of health issues at 100 years old.
you got some good
So
genetics, man. If you even make it to
yeah,
90, there you go.
absolutely. We'll see. We'll see. Number three step, easier rules around planning and zoning. You won't need to jump through as many hoops to prove your building plans are acceptable. As long as you use a professional like an architect, engineer, probably a
Hmm.
planner as well. Well, you need a planner anyways, but minor changes to property layouts, like slight changes to the building setbacks, will be easier to get approved. That's cool.
So like I'm picturing like a minor variance, like hey, we don't have quite room for four, but we got 3 feet. Is this
Mhm.
okay? Just put it
Minor
through.
variances, a little bit easier to work with.
Hmm.
Number four, transit projects like will move quicker. Big public transportation projects like subways or GO train expansions will have fewer steps in approval, so they'll get built faster. Something that we need, especially now
Yes.
that Windsor was one of those areas that was so uh vehicle dependent because home prices for the longest time were cheap.
Hmm.
Now we have an influx of house prices that have skyrocketed over the last uh, probably 10 years
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna
We've
say
been
compared to
noticing
10 years
an
ago.
increase at pretty much almost every year in house prices. Um, and the issue is that we have a lack of, for the most part, affordable homes. So a lot of people are maxing out their living expenses on their housing, and they're not maybe not driving anymore. So they're looking into areas. that are closer to either where they work. But for example, still, I mean,
We do need better
they still
transit
need
here.
they need
Yeah,
transit, right? They're gonna have to Uber, they'll have to do something else. So I wouldn't be surprised if Windsor has to start looking at, you know, potentially a larger expansion
more bus
into
lanes or more or
bus
bus
lane
routes and things like that.
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting a subway anytime
No,
soon.
no, no. Imagine it'd probably be like
Maybe
one
just
one
another
stop.
subway
Like,
store.
yeah. Oh boy.
So why this matters to you? Transit often increases property values nearby, so you'll want to watch where these projects are going. That's
Yeah.
true. It
They'll
is
pay you
true,
generally good
especially in big
money.
areas like Toronto.
Yeah. I
Number
remember
five.
hearing stories
Go ahead.
just really quick when they did the it was the I think it was when it used to Highway 3 go through, but then they were doing like the 401 expansion when they were buying people's houses up to kind of put that in. They were getting good prices, so even if you're forced to sell, at least you got some good money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And honestly, I mean, I used to live in Essex for the longest time too, and we kind of almost waited right for that Highway 3 expansion. And yeah, that was huge because obviously now with going almost to Kingsville now,
Yeah, the whole
we'll have a
it's a good
two
corridor.
lanes, which makes it a little bit easier to move into the county, which will hopefully reduce commute times and draw more
And the
um,
price is up because there are more
home
people.
buyers
Yeah.
into those areas, right? So local governments have less control. Cities and towns can't make their own rules or building related issues anymore. It's mostly the province's call now. I like the idea of like it's this or that. It's
Black or
making
white.
life easier because obviously some cities are just, and this is the biggest issue I've heard from a lot of people is like some cities were moving so quickly, while other cities were just taking months and months for the same project.
Yeah.
For investors, this could be more predictability across different markets, but less safe for residents or local councils, which could upset communities or create resistance. That's true because there's something that you wanted to talk about earlier,
Oh
which
yeah.
was
The NIMBYs.
NIMBYism, not in my backyard. So
Yeah.
basically, you have areas that were, like for example, South Windsor. Most of these were 900 to 1,000 square foot. Back in the day, these were like my family's from South Windsor.
Hmm.
That was the suburbs, right? That was the nice area going back 50, 60 years ago.
Nice and shiny and new.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it was
Clean.
shiny and new, but they were still small houses. I mean, 900 square feet back in the day, three beds, probably one or two baths. Those were a big house back then. Now we're pushing these McMansion styles into Tecumseh, East Windsor, and then obviously into LaSalle. So younger couples or people that are trying to upsize their lifestyle are going to those areas where some of the local population, some of the older folks that have been in their houses for 40, 50 years, are like, what do you mean? Like South Windsor's kind of changing now and we're seeing some rentals. Well, it's because of the housing size, but these smaller homes, like maybe 1,000 square feet,
They're on
but
big
they're on
lots.
60 by 100 foot lots or more,
Yeah.
right? And anywhere else in the city, that's a double lot,
Mm-hmm.
or that would
Mm-hmm.
allow you to build 6 to 8 units. So
Yes.
investors are seeing these and going, wait a second, if I maybe buy on a street like Habana, which is a busier intersection, maybe the city will let me build potentially 6 to 8 units on the
Right.
lot, which is
And
interesting.
what's happening too
Um,
is sometimes there's going to be a developer or builder. They'll buy one house and they'll just sit on it, and
mhm,
then they'll buy the next two, and so then they'll have three lots that can merge together, and they can build 18, 24 units, something like that. And or they'll buy them, sever the houses in the front, and then keep the deep lots in the back, and just decide to knock down one of the houses, and they can build
mhm,
your townhouses behind. Like, and that's what they're doing on Joe St. Louis Road, just off
mhm.
Tecumseh there. They did the exact same thing, and they had over like a 300-foot deep lots on this street, which is crazy. And so that's what allowed them to then plan and build out this thing. But again, like the
That's
NIMBYs, you're saying they definitely resistant.
well because they're invested in that area. They love it. They bought there for a reason. And
Hmm.
then now they're seeing that their neighborhood's turning which would have been a normal middle class or I would say lower to middle class now.
Hmm.
Neighborhoods are being more switched over because South Windsor, for example, South Windsor is so built up, you really can't do too much in the core area of South Windsor.
No.
But you have these smaller homes where people would prefer larger homes. So, and you still have one of the best school districts. So investors are like, wait a second, I can get, for a fairly affordable price point, 400 to 500 thousand
A
bucks,
good
I
premium.
can ADU between 2 to 3 units. If I have a nice large garage, I can do the basement unit and then a garage unit. and then get top rated rents because we're in an A neighborhood, Massey
Mm-hmm.
High School, Bellwood Public School areas, right? So great school district neighborhoods. And then people go, wait a second, this is my home and neighborhood, and now it's becoming a rental neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or there's condos being built. For example, there's a big uproar because I'm playing golf. I'm golfing on Saturday. Golfing is my new hobby, and I'm playing at Roseland Golf Course. And Drew Dilkins and kind of threw out a suggestion like, why don't we have all this extra area from where the curling rink used to be, which is no longer there. They moved the curling rink
Mm-hmm.
to Capri Pizza Arena there. I believe I've said it right, but the recreational complex. Sorry.
Yep.
Um, and we can do some higher end condos where maybe some retirees would want to live and golf. It's
Yeah.
a great.
And
I
then,
thought it was a great idea,
yeah,
but people in the neighborhood were like,
I think we showed
wait a
that article a
second, that's
couple
going
of
to be
Windsor re-ups
20,
back.
30 more units,
Yeah.
which means 20 to 30 more cars, which is true because Windsor is so card
It's
dependent.
car dependent. Yeah. Some other some other things and concerns that people make too is like, well, not only is it going to increase traffic or increase the cars and the parking on the street, but there's also more trash that gets put out, and maybe
Correct.
people also have some misconceptions that think a lot of these units going in are all affordable housing, but it's not. It's actually generally it's higher end because the builders want to make the most bang for their buck and get the highest rents. So it's not necessarily just for low income people.
I know I showed Marco out quite a bit, but
Go ahead.
I was at
Show them as
his
well.
town hall about a month or two ago
Mm-hmm.
for his development he's doing on Devonshire Court, which is he bought this
Good
beautiful
Walkerville
development
area.
just off of Devonshire, and it's like Devonshire, Kildare, Ottawa Street.
Right. Yeah.
Great
That
pocket.
section. Yeah, that Tim Hortons,
The
right?
house is in that neighborhood, like because on Devonshire, when you talk about a good street in Walkerville, Devonshire like starts for the most part at around $700,000 for a decent home.
Those homes are large. Yeah.
He bought a whole development. He's planning on doing, I think, 24 unit. So it's gonna be 8 townhomes,
Yeah.
but 3 units per
Yeah.
somebody.
You
He owns
stack
it all,
them.
right? He's
You
not selling
stack
these all.
townhomes like that. Yeah.
Correct. So the
That's the way
stacked
to do it
townhome
too with
style.
CMHC. Sorry, go ahead.
And originally, so this is kind of like how he played the situation was the previous owner actually got a development and it was basically ready to go. It's shovel ready for a 4-story condominium. So he says, "Look, I want to change this because the 4-story condominium in this location doesn't fit the neighborhood. I want to instead do these townhomes,
Mm-hmm.
which will fit the neighborhood.
Be part of the community. Yeah.
You're now this like the roofs are at level to level with the other units of the area, and the neighborhood it would benefit the neighborhood. However, the neighbors for the most part go, great project, we love it, but
But
once again, two things: parking, because now you have 24 units.
mm-hmm.
And he basically said, not everyone drives. You're in Walkerville, people can walk. Some people work from home,
There's a
right?
bus route there too, just right on Ottawa
There's a
Street.
bus route,
Yeah.
right?
It's right
So,
nearby.
and also, like as you just mentioned, garbage collection. So the way he has it set off is that he's gonna do kind of like a private collection at the back, because basically what happens is that hypothetically, if he were to sell these units off down the road, not because once he says he's not going to sell it off, but eventually life happens and
Yeah.
100 years down the road, it does get sold off. Um, you have all these different, you have 8 units now, but you have 24 units total. Would that technically be 24 Herbie Kirby's? It could be. So I understand why the neighbors, and it's a good point, would say, hey, we don't want to see 24
Bit of
Herbie
an
Kirby's.
eyesore.
We don't
Yeah.
want to see 24 recycling bins or more. So there's cool like the way he said, hey, I own this project, and because it's mine and I'm not selling these units, I can hide and have private collection at my own cost to come collect it. And the neighborhoods go, well, that's one less thing for me to complain about.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to spend a little bit extra money. You have to think a little bit of what would the neighbor, you have to put your neighbor hat on. So you almost kind of have to be in what would a NIMBY want?
Right. You do
And
have to
once again,
appease
this is a
them. Yeah.
$700,000 neighborhood of houses for the most part. They are older Walkerville houses, but if I were to live in Walkerville, Devonshire would probably be one of the streets that I wanted to live on.
Hmm.
Um, and would I want to see 24 units? The answer is probably not because it's my
Yeah.
backyard, right? However, you have a builder that knows how to kind of work with the project, then you can kind of eliminate it.
And
But
the
sometimes you
community.
get
Yeah.
some builders that go, I want to do this cool project because it's going to make me a lot of money.
They just slap
And
it
then
in
you get
there.
stuck
Yeah.
and they slap it in there. And the neighbors are like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think,
So it's like if you don't work with the neighbors, but if you can kind of create and complement them, it could be good. Like I mean, I think Marco's trying to do another development near Riverside Drive, um, and it doesn't fit the neighborhood, but it's a cool development because it's Riverside Drive.
mhm.
However, he might have some pushback on that from maybe the councilors. I don't know, right? So,
Yeah. You definitely
um,
want to get the city on your side too when you do these things, because I was at one similar open house and the city councilor was there and he was listening to his constituents, and he first and foremost needs to make them happy. You know,
100%. Otherwise, yeah.
otherwise he's not getting reelected. But I would say something too, in the at least in the process with Windsor, you have 6 stages to a development or to like building something new, and within that process, you do work with the city, but at 3 different stages the neighborhood can air their grievances or give their feedback. And what happened at this one was stage 2, and so that was the first one to actually unveil the project, to explain, and everyone within like a 500 or 600 meter radius got notices to actually say, hey, come in person, come check out these pictures or blueprints, and you can understand the project and not have any um, misconceptions or uh, just clear a lot of things up, because a lot of people just assume, oh no, this is going to be terrible. And it's like, I think of this analogy. It's like, okay, I go to the store and I'm looking at something. I'm just shopping, and the guy comes up to you who wants to help and says, hey, what are you looking for? How can I help? And you say, oh, I'm just looking. It's like the automatic response. And
It is.
those people usually have the automatic response of, I don't like it, I don't want it. But they don't really
Mhm.
understand. And once you kind of talk to them and you're patient and you explain the whole thing, and maybe you got to reiterate yourself a couple more than a few times, I think people generally come around to the idea, because townhomes, those will fit the neighborhood, for instance, like what Marco's doing, and I think people will actually like it, and it'll bring the value up, and people eventually uh, eventually realize it's just part of the community. It's more people that can
Mhm.
help each other out, and uh,
But he actually had a really cool 1-2 punch because the condominium was already shovel ready.
so
So
he was
he ended
helping.
it with like, hey,
I'm making it better.
I'm trying to help you guys out
Yeah,
here.
help me help you.
Approve this project because if you don't, this is shovel ready
Right,
to
and I
build
could do it
a
anyhow.
four-story condominium, right? I
I
can do
like that
that.
carrot and stick almost.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
funny enough, and he was telling me he got that from a good old Donald Trump, but that's
Are the
one of the
deal.
things that
I love
pretty
that.
much that's you kind of almost have to do a 1-2 punch, and I think people need to understand that. There's a lot of like people, this is a tried and true business that's been around for many, many years. And whether or not you like the guy Donald Trump or not, um,
You can't deny
he has done
his
a
track record.
lot
Yeah,
of like
real
I've
estate.
to be honest with you, I've read a lot of New York properties that he did interesting things,
Mm.
renovictions, different things that may be frowned upon today. Um,
He worked the
but at the end
system.
of the day, he got his projects through. And not just him, there's other people, there's so many different investors that have their books. Like we have Ray Dalio, we have so many guys that in businesses, right? That have started in real estate, did some development, either stayed in it or went into other
They
businesses as it
started in real
became
estate.
richer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
being you got to be creative
very, very,
sometimes.
and there's a lot of a lot of ways you can kind of learn from what other people are doing, right? And learn from other people's mistakes because history repeats itself,
Amen to
and you
that.
never want to be, if you can say, oh, this has already been done, and this is how they overcame it,
Hmm.
you have the answers in your disposal. Obviously, that was just a little bit easier because that project was already approved by the previous owner.
Hmm.
And I don't think people realize too, especially I've been talking to a few people that are getting into development. I don't think people realize the costs associated
Huge upfront cost. Huge.
before you get a yes or no. People are
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, I'll submit some designs. Yeah, first of all, the designs are tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, especially on the bigger. The
Um,
bigger you go, the more units.
yeah, and
Costly.
then you have to get a planner involved, right?
Yeah.
Because the planner has to look at everything. You could be 75, $150,000 maybe. Well,
Hmm.
I would say about $75,000 for the most part
And then
deep
sometimes you get unlucky
before you even have a yes or no.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Or maybe it's like a maybe, and then you're like, oh shoot, now I have to do second stage of environmental studies, and then it just escalates from there.
Or
The
have
more
to
you
go
go.
to the land tribunals
Yeah.
with then you're basically suing, which now you have to hire a good, competent lawyer
Yeah. Who
that
knows real estate?
understands that, which is tens of thousands of dollars.
And then that's
That's where
time and just waiting
so
and waiting.
it it could be some people for some projects it could be, tens of thousands. For some projects it could be hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands.
I know someone in, well, you've met them too. Some investors that come out to our All Things REI meetups, and
Mhm.
they're also Wealth Genius members, but they were trying to make a sixplex for the longest time, and they just kept running into roadblock to roadblock, and I think it almost took them 2 years just to make a stinking sixplex.
A sixplex.
I know, and that's not even anything crazy. I think honestly they
No.
just got unlucky and they tried to do a lot themselves, and that's what slowed it down a little. But yeah, sometimes it just isn't the right fit, or you chose the wrong lot to try to build on. So you definitely want to see. I will mention this. Sometimes you can see what the city is planning for the future, for future build outs, and what they envision for the next
Mhm.
5, 10 year, 15 year down the line. And so they will zone and designate these areas of like a place that they want to develop or to go into. And so you can kind of think with your brain then and say, okay, if I develop in these areas, I'm going to have a slightly better time or easier time because I'm kind of aligning with the city's own goals and what they want.
And the city posts notice of all these basically these open houses and what other builders are doing, right? What's going through planning, right?
Hmm.
Um, and you could attend these events and see, and you'll have an idea what's going on with other builders. So you can say, oh, this, so and so is building a sixplex, or so and so is building a 10 unit, 12 unit, 50 unit apartment building.
Hmm.
Interesting. I want to do that.
Hmm.
You can kind of watch where's the property, what's going on. Oh, they have a property at this address and now they're severing it. Why are they severing it? Interesting.
Yeah.
Or oh, wait a second here. They're planning this on this size of a lot.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
gets your
So,
brain turning too on potential ideas, or you go with the big fish where they're going, and then you
oh
try to,
yeah, I mean, once
yeah,
again, I have a vacant land on Drouillard here, but guess what? I already talked to another builder that goes, wait a second, I have a same law as you, and I may be building a six unit building on it. I'm like, oh well,
yeah. If he can do it, then look
I'm
at
gonna
what you can do.
piggyback off you then. I'm gonna wait for
Exactly.
you to do it first.
Let him kind of read the green for you, and then you can make your
Yeah,
make your shot.
it'll
Yeah.
save me tens of thousands of dollars.
Heck yeah.
So I think what we'll do is we'll probably just head over because
To the
honestly
stats.
there's not much. Yeah, it's been a slow news time. Tariffs are still on there. Tariffs. I think the tariffs on aluminum and steel have gotten worse. Zekelman was in the news for that.
Hmm.
What else is going
We
on
had
here
a
right
really
now?
quick rate
Chrysler's
hold.
is
Didn't do
getting
anything.
laid off, I think.
Yeah. Kind of
Oh
market
yeah,
stagnant.
the rate. Yeah, honestly,
Nothing
that
too
was
crazy this week.
predictable. Supposedly they're saying that there's gonna be a rate decrease on the next one.
In
I
July,
personally
right?
don't think we're gonna have anything crazy.
Yeah.
I think what we're at right now, we might see a total of 0.25
Hmm. Well, Powell kind of was saying to
decrease.
hold in on the states for June, but maybe he'll do in July and decrease the 0.25 like you're saying.
Well,
And usually we're in line with them.
well, we're a lot more down right now than they
Yeah.
are.
That's
So
also fair. That's also fair. We'll have to see.
we can the more we reduce it, it also increases inflation with our price points because
Yeah. It's
um
hard balancing act.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy. Show me the stats for this week and the rest of this month and the rest of the viewers here. What do
So
we got
these
going
stats
on?
for May 2025, what we're going to do is focus in on that far right bottom residential market activity comparison. We are looking at for the monthly, we'll start there first, listings we're at 1,378, which is a under 10%, almost 10% increase from the previous year of 2024. That was 1,254. Sales, this is good to see. Like, we're pretty much on par with what we did this time last year, which was 491 this year, and then for May, and then 496 what we did last year. So we had a reduction of 1%. That, I mean, we're talking 5 properties. That's nothing to call home
Yeah.
about. Last month's was terrible. Average sale price $556,855. And that's a 2.7% decrease from 572,304. This is a tough one right here just because um it all depends on what sells. We could have had a really good month last year, where we were selling multi-million dollar houses. So
And then you might
the
skew it a little
biggest thing
bit.
for me to say would be let's take a look at the median sale price now, which was no, go up to the monthly one.
Oh, sorry.
Five
Yeah,
hundred
go.
and
I was doing
twenty-four
the yearly
thousand. We'll
there.
call it
Yep.
525, and the previous year was 535. So we do have a little bit of a noticeable. I mean, we're talking like $10,000
Yeah,
price
marginal.
difference.
Yep.
So that it does add a little bit, but still under 2%. Nothing crazy. Um, and that's it. We've been fluctuating around this as an average price point and a median average price sale price for quite a bit now. Year to date, we're at 5,226 listings year to date, which is up almost 16% compared to last year, 4,516. And then sales were down 8%, having 1,902 compared to 2,069. So we have noticed it's slower. I mean, there's a lot more listings, as you can tell,
Mm-hmm.
a lot less sales. It adds up. Average sale price point, look at this, 0.03% difference. We've been stagnant for about a year and a half now, in my opinion.
Right.
569,394 compared to last year, 569, 583. That's minuscule. There's no difference. We'll call it, well, it's an apple to apple.
Yeah.
Median sale price, 530,000, which is 1.4% decrease at 537,500. Nothing once again to call home. It's a percent. We're not going to worry about it. We'll see what happens next month, but this is I guess if you were to look at it, you'd think that the prices are going down. Um, I don't think prices are going down. I think they're in pretty stagnant,
It's
but
been
we have a
kind
lot
of
more
stabilized.
listings. And this is what we have to realize too. That could make it look like a decrease in price points because buyers have a lot more options.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if that's the thing too, if
They might start lowballing and then maybe it drops the prices down slightly.
I mean, when you have 50, almost 16% more listings year to date. But once again, we also have to remember too, a lot of the listings that are listed, they they're sellers that have bought in the last 2 years for prices that were well over what it's worth today.
Right.
They
They can't
bought
afford
towards a
to sell
peak
too low.
and they're sitting on the market. There's properties that have been sitting on the market for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years. I've seen one duplex that's literally been like reposted for the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of just working their way down.
Yeah, slowly and
So
surely, but they
we'll
chip
scroll
away.
maybe over just a little bit to the popular style of homes. I just like talking about
Yeah,
them.
of
It's kind of
course.
cool to see what's going on. Number one for the month, we had bungalows.
Bungalows.
136 sales for the average price of being 457,988. So it looks like probably South Windsor and East Windsor had a good month, most likely by the sounds of it. So if people get confused by bungalows and ranches, I think I explain this every single month. However, bungalow, those are your older style ranches where you have kind of like a little front porch and you have to go up 4 or 5 steps. Where a ranch, you might have a step and into the house. Um, Number two, two-story home at 91 sales. Average sale price of a two-story home being 709,691. Number three being a 1.5 story with 53 sales. Average sale price is 480,486. These are your older style wartime homes. So good
Right.
first time home buyer house. Ranch style being number four, 48 sales, 597,000. 117. And once again, people go, well, why is there a massive price difference between a bungalow and a ranch? The ranches are what we're doing in today's market. The newer style homes, they're more expensive than the old bungalow homes because
Mm-hmm.
most of the old bungalow homes, um, basically, oh,
Sorry.
I think, um, they're going to be like 900 to 1,000 square feet. So, then we have raised ranches, which is, your typical, um, you see a lot of these homes being built in today's market for the last maybe 30 years. So years, 46 sales, which is interesting. I would think that with the amount of raised ranches we see on the market, it would be like a number one sale, but I'm surprised it never really is. And the average sale price is 645,570.
570.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty. That's actually, yeah, a decent update for this month. I guess not, like you said, a lot changed from previous because it is stabilized, but at least it's not gloom and doom. So I know I've asked you this before. Do you think it's a time for people to buy if they want to buy, or should they wait?
Oh, real estate never sleeps. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, you
There you
buy
go.
based off of numbers. You buy based off of location. So this is, if I can give any type of advice as a friend to the people, what I would do, because obviously I'm not trying to solicit, because we have to kind of pick my words carefully when I do these now. However, um, in a time like this, when there's a lot more listings, the stuff that will sell in any market are going to be location, location, location.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Going back to the peak, like we talked about 2022, everything and anything was selling. People were just trying to buy just to buy for the sake of buying. And the properties that got the shit out of the stick are your West Ends, your downtown properties, properties that took basically they were just selling because the market was going up.
Mm.
And when the market hits a point where we have a lot of listings and buyers have options, they're not going to consider neighborhoods like those for the most part. Um, so investors now have, for example, more opportunity to buy right now. I mean, but this is the thing. You don't buy based off of market value unless you're planning on buying your personal home. You want to find value. Most investors are looking for value,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can find a property that makes sense for you and that can cash flow based off the current rents today, which are pretty fair. um I mean, the market could potentially get worse, it could get better, we don't know. It's a flip of the switch, right? It's basically a roll the dice or a flip of the coin. um Hopefully it gets better for sure, but here's the thing. We're still in a housing crisis. We still need apartments. We still need people to live at. But once again, when we have more listings, especially more potential rental properties
Yep.
too, and renters will have more
More selection as
options
well.
to find, yeah, more selections, which could reduce, especially with the amount of building we've had recently, the price of rentals. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm getting great prices in my West End property or my downtown property." Well, um, if Walkerville or East Windsor or South Windsor starts getting a little too stagnant and they start reducing house prices or rental prices, everything else,
Is gonna have to match it as well.
yeah, like if, for
Yeah.
example, if the market gets worse and someone's getting $3,000 a month for their house and they're not getting $3,000 a month anymore and they drop it at $2,700, well, the house that was $2,700 or $2,500 now has to drop and
It's gonna be
reduce
hard to
even
beat.
further. And it just
Race to the bottom almost.
is a race to the bottom,
Yeah.
right? So, and then obviously we have to remember too, in any market, the best properties always sell. So what I mean by that is location based. So anything by the waterfront, anything by parks, anything like backing onto golf courses. Once again, these are mostly family style homes, but there's opportunities elsewhere too as well. Like if you're gonna buy a multifamily in Walkerville that may have never come up, this is the time to buy properties that will, when the market picks up, will appreciate tenfold quicker than other properties because you're buying off of the desirable locations will always resell and they'll command at when the market gets more greedy again, will command the highest price points.
I agree. I was just looking at the chat here really quickly. Manny says hello. He says, my brothers. And he said, and many more flooring selections coming soon.
Love it.
Yeah. But I think that's a great way to wrap up tonight, Jeremy. I
I
appreciate your
think so as
insights
well.
as always. And
Mhm.
I guess, is there anything else
Until
we,
next
we,
time.
we need to mention? Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's
No,
about
I
it.
don't think we have anything planned just yet. Um, we possibly have a partnership we're looking at for a great all things REI meet.
Hmm.
We'll hopefully have some more information there.
A little bit of a
And
tour.
then I think in August we'll have one too because it's going to be dropped on Droulard.
Hmm.
And then I will have hopefully prayers, thoughts, and prayers my way for Droulard to close because
It'll
then we'll be able
happen.
to
It'll
showcase
happen.
that. So.
Right on.
If anyone's asking about where we've been or what's going on with our walkthroughs or our meetups, I'm hoping to have potential. We'll see if we can do something for July, maybe a small just meetup or something like that.
Yeah.
We don't have anything planned with anyone right now. Um,
Yeah, we want to bring you guys some more unique buildings and something that actually gets the
yeah.
people going, because I know sometimes once you've seen a flip, it kind of gets old and stagnant, and maybe we can't do that another time. I'm not saying never to see a flip
Oh,
again, but
100%.
um,
And I think
we
if all goes well, we'll have a really good August and September for you.
definitely. So stay tuned for that. And I know sometimes the summer months are busy too, so we'll keep plugging away and we'll keep you guys informed and follow along for more. Find us on Instagram, YouTube. We posted this on LinkedIn this time too, but
It's awesome.
we're here on Facebook. You can check me or Jeremy's profile, find us there.
Mhm.
And I know that they can connect with you, Jeremy. You got all your socials. We actually linked your social media just below on the live here. Jeremy from Windsor, and then myself, T McCormick _ yeah, reach out to us if you ever want to talk anything regarding real estate. If you need to buy, sell homes, talk to Jeremy. He's your guy in Windsor for Investor Focused. And we'll see you next time.